Hello, I'm Keanu Reeves, and today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite albums. It is Woman's Woman, released in 2008. Woman was a Canadian post-punk, noise, and a little bit of math rock influenced band from Calgary. These guys were very genius. Sadly, they broke up in 2012, but before they broke up, they left us two exceptional albums, especially the second one, Public Strain, that came out in 2010. If you haven't listened to that, I highly recommend you do. Or if you don't want to listen to an whole album, I recommend you listen to the song Eyesore, one of their best songs. But, without further ado, let's get to the review. So, while this album is not as refined as their next album, Public Strain, this album has a lot to give, and especially with the sounds that women toy around with and then later establish and elaborate on more. So, the first track of the album is a short song, 1 minute long, and it's called Cameras. I think it's aptly titled because the riff to kick off, it's not really a classic riff in a sense, but it's like a riff. The riff is just a progressive noise. It's like so it's like it sounds like camera shutters, and it's very interesting, and you can tell right away. I think so it'd be like right here. It starts. So it's got that percussive sound that sounds like camera shutters, and the song is very short, but he automatically establishes the vocal style of Woman, which is, if you hadn't heard of it before, it's kind of startling and maybe even off-putting because the vocals are off key on purpose, and the harmonization is in the style of like the 60s bands of the Beatles, or even more so like the Beach Boys. But that's part of the sound that they have, and this is what makes Woman so instantly recognizable, along with the guitar work and their very catchy rhythm section. So it goes. And it's got a nice synth line near the end of the song that continues on. A very good song. I think it's a solid opening to an album because it establishes the sounds that you're going to be hearing further on. And, so yeah, it's a good starting track. The second track is Lawncare. And again, it's a good title for the song because the sample used for the song is actually of a lawnmower, and it gets louder and louder as the song progresses. It's a very noise piece, a very noise rock piece. But what I really like about this song is that it establishes the woman sound guitar-wise. Their guitar riffs are so original and just a breath of fresh air, really, when you're accustomed to listening to, I don't know, just other music that just sounds kind of repetitive, really, in guitars, because you don't really hear anything new. People trying to experiment. They just got certain genres and they stick to what they know. But Lawn Care is a very good example because around the first minute is when you hear the guitars, and so let me put it on so you can hear just that sound. And that drone underneath is the lawnmower sample, just getting progressively louder and louder. And this song is a very good song, maybe slightly hard to digest. So I definitely recommend listening to these songs multiple times. You know, especially if you're not accustomed to the noise aspect of the music, because it can be off-putting and jarring sometimes. So next up on the list is Woodbine, and that is a noise piece constructed of different samples and sounds, just concocted into a 3 minutes and 39 long second piece of music. Kind of is very jarring to listen to, you know, and there's not really much I can do to explain it except that it's, you know, noise, and it's, you know, a lot of people will be put off by that. So, I mean, let's go ahead and move to the fourth song of the album, being Black Rice, one of Woman's most instantly recognizable songs, one of the most popular, if not the most popular, you know, second only or maybe tied to with Eyesore, the closer to their next album. Undeniably wonderful song with an instantly catchy guitar part that goes like, you know, a wonderful song. And not much else to say that except for the fact that if you are trying to get into woman, or any friend of yours, and you're trying to recommend new music, trying to keep an open mind, well, this song is a wonderful place to start. You know, automatically identifiable with a lo-fi feeling, and their instantly recognizable vocals. Awesome. One of the most perfect songs ever written, probably. You know, in such it takes good influence from the Beach Boys and the Beatles without being, you know, just shoving it in your face and being like, oh, look, it's a copy. You know, it's just wonderful with their own take on it. Next up, we have Sag Harbor Bridge. The song is fast. Is what I mean about the math aspect of the group. It's a very fast, complex guitar part. Music, and this is also what I mean about their music being and the guitar work being so, you know, this pioneering, in the sense that a lot of the bands that have come up more recently, you know, Palm, Omni, just these types of bands, they seem to be influenced a lot by the guitar work. But back to the song, it's very, like I said, fast paced. If I counted it right, I think the beginning, like, first 15 seconds is in 7/8, and then once it gets like to 15, it goes like 15/8. So it's something weird like that. It's pretty cool. Very complex and fast, but, you know, instantly recognizable. You know, it's got like a little melody or more motif. You know. So, I mean, that's Sag Harbor Bridge. The next song up would be group Transport Hall, which reminds me a lot of 1970s Wire, which are an English punk band. If you're interested, you can go look them up. So they're pretty good, and that's what they remind me of. The song is interesting because it's the only song in the entire Woman repertoire that has acoustic guitar in it. It's very poppy and catchy, upbeat. Again, fast. You know, it's very, very, very nice. It's very short too, so it's overall a good piece. You know, automatically that woman sound, the vocals, which have been an inspiration to a lot of bands. Early Red Sea being one of them. So, you know, there's that, and that's a very good song. Next up, we have Shaking Hand, which is another one of their more recognizable songs. This one, again, has got some weird meter. I believe it's 19/8, and it's just a wonderful piece of just a concoction of these different, like, math and, like, punk. That's what it's great. So here goes, Shaking Hand. So, you know, women's guitar work is, in my opinion, some of the very, very top tier uh, in all of music, especially near the middle when they go into they. The thing I like about women's guitars is that it's not necessarily lead and rhythm. It's a dance of guitars. They play in and around different melodies, counterpoints. It's so amazingly complex, but melodical at the same time. It's just very great to listen to. It's just so um, it's wonderful. Next we have Upstairs, and this is the 8th track. 2 more to go. So Upstairs is another good piece. It starts off again with the woman vocals. Is very very instantly identifiable. So this is after like Shaking Hand, we get into a chill piece, which would be Upstairs, a little bit more relaxed. Yeah, so I mean, excellent song. I recommend you listen to this one. Next, we have January 8th. So another droning noise piece. You know, but with some vocals in it as well. And you know, a lot of people, I mean, again, they won't like it, but you know, it takes time to get into it and just enjoy the wonderful inventiveness, you know, without it being too. It's not just noise for noise sake, you know. It's there to startle, to get your attention, and to, you know, just make it just captures the attention. After that, we have Flashlights. This song actually reminds me a lot of like Miles Davis, like Bitches Brew kind of stuff, and the fact that like it's a very laid back, kind of like an improvised feel, you know, to the pieces, and but overall, you know, that's the complete album. It's relatively short. It's not long at all, and it's, you know, I recommend a lot of people to just listen to it, you know, to keep an open mind, listen to it. It's great because it really does showcase a lot of women's talents and how they would be able to take that and not necessarily refine them, but make it better, and, you know, just give you an increase in just the overall structure of the songs, and it's just wonderful. So I recommend listening to this album. A very good women. It's been Keanu Reeves, and I hope you enjoyed this review.